Hello there, listeners of the Old Republic podcast. Today we are bringing you a special episode called KOTOR is Totally Canon. And we want you to know that we are an intelligent, nuanced, and introspective Old Republic podcast. And everything we say, we mean literally. We are not being sarcastic at all.
Yeah, that's right. We were talking about it the other day. We were doing some self-reflection in the KOTOR world, and it dawned on us that KOTOR is totally canon, and we thought that we needed to share this news with all of you. So yes, we are very serious on all of this stuff. So please take it to heart and let us know what you think about our list here of reasons why KOTOR is totally canon.
Yeah, and we're consummate professionals, but some of us are recording away from our usual, kind of studio sound rooms, So if you hear any background noise, like that was unintentional and we failed you in that regard. But
that's right. But some episodes are too important to put off any longer. We have to make sacrifices. Yeah. And if there's a sacrifice in sound quality, then so be it, because this is important stuff.
And we're consummate professionals, and we will bring you the gospel that is KOTOR, no matter when or where. So,
absolutely. So,
all right, do you want to start off with number 10, Brian?
Yeah. So number 10 here, and it's a big one. You and I, we sat down and we both kind of created our list, and I have a feeling this was on both of our lists. But the big one for me, Mandalorian season 2, Krayt Dragon Pearl. Just like you find on Tatooine after you fight the Krayt Dragon, you take the Krayt Dragon Pearl, you put it in your lightsaber. It's the best. They carried it over. It's canon now. And if you're thinking to yourself, Cassia, the Krayt Dragon in The Mandalorian doesn't look like the Krayt Dragon in KOTOR. Well, that's because that was a big Krayt Dragon, but not the Canyon Krayt Dragon that we see in KOTOR. But we do see the Canyon Krayt Dragon in Star Wars Adventure comic. So, therefore, Krayt Dragon Pearl, canon.
Yeah, The Mandalorian kind of borrowed a Dune worm for that episode. The budget was too big, so they're like, we're just going to borrow Frank Herbert's worm, and Warner Brothers thought that was okay. So
totally fine.
Yeah, it was a bigger, Krayt Dragon Pearl, but it's because it was a bigger dragon, and like those things form over generations, and like they can vary in size. And I'm sure if any enterprising young Jedi found that Krayt Dragon Pearl, they could fashion it into an appropriate lightsaber crystal.
Exactly right.
Mm-hmm. And then we can follow that up with number 10. The Manon connection. I do love Manon. Kolto is mentioned in the High Republic era, the book Into the Dark by Claudia Gray. And then the Hetzel disaster in the Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. Was it the Selkath? What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, that was the big speculation. So the Hetzel disaster, there's a big explosion in the hyperspace lane, and Hetzel was the big producer of Bacta, this up-and-coming medicinal fluid that was replacing Kolto. So who would be at most to gain from that? That would be the Selkath. Well, we learn later in the High Republic that it wasn't them, but just even thinking about it makes me think that the Selkath and Manon are canon.
Yeah, I mean, just like the thought tracks, and it leads us to canon, so therefore it is canon. And plus, we had a Selkath bounty hunter in Clone Wars. He kind of spoke basic, not like in like the hissy like little clicks, but maybe they can just speak both ways, and that's cool that they're able to do that.
All right, so carrying on, number 10, we have the Dark Lord, the Jedi Knight, Revan. Him or herself, so close to being canonized in the Clone Wars. In the Mortis arc, the original animatics had Bane and Revan. We talked about that back in episode 69, so go give that a listen if you want to hear more about that. Revan was right there on the cusp of greatness being canonized, but it didn't happen until The Rise of Skywalker. In the art of the Rise of Skywalker book, we find out that one of the legions on Exegol was the Revan Legion. And is that a coincidence? I don't think so.
Yeah, I believe it's number 3 or 9. Who cares? Like it's canon, like it's named after Revan, whoever they may be. And maybe there was a Malak Legion that was jaw-dropping, We just don't know. All of the legions that were there in the ice, all those years, where did they come from, But we don't really need to think about that. What we do need to think about is that KOTOR is canon. So.
That's right. That is the important takeaway from The Rise of Skywalker, no doubt.
Speaking of The Rise of Skywalker, when I saw The Rise of Skywalker, I internalized this line from Palpatine, a dyad not seen in generations. And I was like, I'm going to take that little modicum of sand and build a castle out of it that's called KOTOR is canon, because a dyad not seen in generations, that's pretty much just a straight up confirmation that Bastila and Revan existed,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's all the confirmation you need, really. A dyad not seen in generations. Who else could they possibly be talking about other than Bastila and Revan? Doesn't make any sense.
And then plus, Kylo Ren had a mask. Ren sounds like Revan, and he had a mask that looks Revan-esque. And Rey had a yellow lightsaber, so like coincidence? I think not.
No, I think there was some deep-rooted dyad energy going on when they picked the mask, when they picked the yellow Kyber Crystal. They were hearkening back to that dyad not seen in generations. Bastila and Revan, therefore canon.
It was planned from the beginning,
Absolutely. Absolutely it was. All right, carrying on with our next point, we have Clan Ordo is totally canon. So the Mandalorian world of Ordo, it became canon officially in 2018 in a reference book called Scum and Villainy, Case Files of the Galaxy's Most Notorious. That was written by Pablo Hidalgo. And Pablo Hidalgo is basically like the Star Wars canon expert, right? That's what he's there for. He is bringing us this great stuff like the Mandalorian world of Ordo, bringing it into canon. Plus, if you watch The Bad Batch, they go to that moon and there's a little dragon there that's eating all the energy. That's called an Ordo moon dragon. Clan Ordo, basically canon.
Yeah, and I think in KOTOR 1, you kind of see Canderous with a tattoo, and I think that tattoo is basically the Ordo moon dragon. Like maybe it's like a sigil, or a crest, so
that's right.
Basically even more canon than it was, which it was really canon. So
that's right. We have a Mudhorn sigil, and now we have the Ordo Moondragon sigil, possibly. So yeah, Clan Ordo, Canderous Ordo, canonized in my head, in our hearts, for sure, 100%.
And then number 10, Catherine Tabor said in a tweet from 2016 that she thinks that Mission Veo and Vet from SWTOR and Numa from Rebels are all related because, obviously she voiced them all. And Star Wars, shows us that voices, especially British accents, are genetic. I mean, that's why Rey is speaking with a British accent, is because of that connection she has to Palpatine and her parents, who we will mention later on the list down at number 10.
That's right, yeah. And Catherine Tabor also voices Padme Amidala. And who is going to argue with Queen Amidala herself? Not me, not you, not anyone. So if Catherine Tabor says that Mission and Numa are related, they probably are. And that means that Mission is canon.
A little fun fact, Catherine Tabor also voiced the E.K. Johnston Queen trilogy, and you can hear our thoughts about Queen's Hope in episode 121.
Absolutely. Go give that a listen and give that book a read because it's excellent. But right now, we are carrying on with our list, and we are to reason number 10 why KOTOR is totally canon, and that is because Korriban, also known as Moraban, Yoda goes there in the Clone Wars, and he talks to Darth Bane. Now, Darth Bane is important because he created the rule of two, no more than two Sith Lords at any given time. That was his rule. And how did he come up with it? Well, if you read the book, Darth Bane, Path of Destruction, he finds Revan's holocrons on Lehon, and that gave him the wisdom and insight that he needed to come up with things like the rule of two. So Yoda talks to Darth Bane, who talked to Revan through holocrons, therefore canon.
Yeah. I mean, it's not circular reasoning at all. You know, it just is straight up reasoning. Which brings me to number 10. Reys' parents are named Dathan, which is actually a biblical name. And if you ever watch Charlton Heston's The Ten Commandments, you get to see the character named Dathan, you know. It totally wasn't just someone like creating the name Dathan off the top of their head as a joke. It is, according to the author, named after a friend he had growing up on Wikipedia. And then Rey's mother was named Miramir. And I actually really like this one. It's kind of like, according to Wikipedia from the author of the book that, like, Shadows of the Sith, Miramir is kind of like Miramar, which is a coast in New Zealand, you know. But I don't know, like, maybe I had a dream or something, you know, kind of like Doctor Strange 2, the Multiverse of Madness, you know, and it's like someone created those names, you know, and it's like Miramir is kind of like palindrome-esque, you know, and it kind of evokes like the mirror image from fairy tales and in The Last Jedi, you know. And what's fascinating about that name is that Miramir has the root Mira in it, which means with 1,138% certainty that KOTOR is canon because it shares a similarity to Mira's name from KOTOR 2.
Absolutely, yeah. She was named after Mira, you know, this notorious bounty hunter from back in the Old Republic days. Totally canon. And Shadow of the Sith, that just came out a couple weeks ago or a week ago. Very much looking forward to reading it and diving into more about the background of these names. But yeah, just the names themselves. This means, yeah, totally. KOTOR is 100% canon. And going on with number 10. As confirmed in the Star Wars Last Jedi's visual dictionary, Luke had a red Kyber Crystal, and it was a relic that was once owned by a Jedi Crusader. This pendant, it featured a broken piece of an ancient Sith lightsaber crystals, and Crusaders took those as trophies, as you see, as we saw in the Star Wars Visions, taking the trophies from their Sith enemies. And, when there were numerous trophies to be taken, this suggests that the objects were very old, centuries old, Old Republic old. And in The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, it explained a lot about how much time Luke was spent traveling the galaxy, trying to acquire these artifacts and learning all of the things about the Jedi, about the Jedi Order, the Sith, and their origins. And that red Kyber crystal was one of those symbolic relics.
Yeah, and Revan was literally the first Jedi Crusader, so if Jedi Crusaders exist, Revan existed, which means KOTOR existed,
Yeah.
So, canon.
So So literally, Luke had Revan's crystal probably on Octo. That's where that's where it was. Yeah. It could have been Malak's. He could have had both of them. It's hard to say.
Yeah. Who knows? But what we do know is that KOTOR is literally canon.
That's the only thing we know with any certainty. That's right.
And then number 10, in Star Wars Brotherhood, Terrace is invoked. That we learned that Obi-Wan and Anakin went on a mission there to Terrace, and that's like the most KOTOR planet of KOTOR 1, probably. You spend so much time there. And
yeah,
and then the same vehicle class as the Ebon Hawk, that's the one that Anakin flew to get to Cato Nemoidia in the first place, And I am a super fan, and I didn't have to have someone else point it out to me that that was what the Ebon Hawk was, you know? So if the same ship class exists, you know, that means that the Ebon Hawk existed because it existed in Knights of the Old Republic. It's all canon, you know? It's like if I saw a DB5 in real life, that means that James Bond is a real person.
That makes the most sense to me. And yeah, you spend a lot of time on Terrace, and we get to find out that Obi-Wan and Anakin got to spend a lot of time on Terrace and flying around by Terrace. So Terrace, totally canon. And yeah, of course, the Ebon Hawk has to be canon if he's going to be on that same ship. And you can learn more about the novel Brotherhood when we were joined by Plo Kool in episode 132. So give that a listen. You can draw your own conclusions there, but the only conclusion we can draw is that KOTOR is 100% canon. And Cassia, that only leaves us with one last number 10 to go. And I think you put this one in, so I think that you should read it, and you should probably read it in your best Emily Swallow impersonation, I think.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll try not to stutter or say or have a tremulous voice. The songs of eons past tell of battles between Mandalore the Great and an order of sorcerers called Jedi that fought with such powers. And that, of course, is a quote from Emily Swallow's The Armorer.
Mm-hmm.
And the songs of eons past, you know, eons, thousands of years ago. And these stories, songs, are passed down oral traditions, you know, telling about the battles between Mandalore the Great, nay, Mandalore the Ultimate, probably, and an order of sorcerers called Jedi. That's Jedi Crusaders, you know, because Luke had the necklace, you know, and they fought with powers. And I would actually love to see the history books from the galaxy, you know, and just see their mythology, folklore, traditions, and all that. Like, I find it really fascinating. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. It is very fascinating. And hopefully, when we get back to season 3 of The Mandalorian, we are going to dive into that history and learn a little bit more about the Mandalorian people, their way of life, and these battles that they got into, you know, including battles probably with Revan, because that's where, you know, Revan got the mask from Mandalore, and in these battles hid it away, brought the Mandalorian race down, and maybe we're going to get into that. And by maybe, I mean probably 100% canon because of the Armorer's statement here to Din Djarin. So I think that, this list of top 10s, you know, 11 number 10s to be exact, it's pretty all encompassing. It's all the reasons why KOTOR is canon, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. I mean, KOTOR is canon. It gets more canon each day. And just a closing statement. If you think we are being sarcastic in any way or joking in any way, like, I hate to break it to you, but we are serious.
Yes.
Serious about our introspection, our intelligence, and nuance that we bring to the Old Republic podcast.
Absolutely. We do not title our episodes things like KOTOR is totally canon lightly. You know, we put a lot of thought and a lot of research into this. And yeah, I don't know what else there is to say, really, but other than, you know, KOTOR is canon. And we want to know, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can drop us comments or message me on Instagram. It's at astro_droid_ and let us know what ways you think KOTOR is canon, because there's probably ones that we missed because they are so numerous out there.
And just one more closing statement. We're not one of those like YouTubers or Star Wars podcasts that adds hashtags to our titles. We will never add hashtag clickbait, hashtag not clickbait, hashtag literally to our episodes. We are, as we said, consummate professionals. So I hope that came across in our recording today. And
yes,
we hope you enjoyed this episode.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. Hashtag no hashtags and hashtag may the force be with you.
Hashtag may the force be with you.